Okay, welcome to another night with us on It's a TRANSworld podcast. We have an amazing, beautiful guest that's going to join us tonight. Her name is Samoria, and I cannot wait to ask her a few questions, and I'm sure you guys are going to be very interested in these questions as well. As always, we wouldn't want to be any place other than right here with you. Malik and I having such a good time having these conversations about those in our community and educating from a standpoint of actually talking to the individuals that are going through these transitions. We are super excited to talk about current events and give our shout outs before we get going with Samoria. So we're going to turn it over to Malik. I'm Raquel, your host. Malik, what you got over there?
Hey everybody, this is Malik coming to you. So today I would like to shout out my very own baby, Raquel Henry. The reason I'm shouting her out today is because I believe she is called to the people. And most recently, a lot she's been saying she knows her calling is not to actually pastor a church, but to go out in the field and do the work. And she has been doing that night in and night out. So today I would like to shout out my other half, Raquel Henry, doing an outstanding job in our community. So kudos to Raquel Henry.
Yeah, man.
I want to go back and highlight a trans woman that was killed here in Atlanta. Although we've had several incidents where we've had trans women killed, most recently here in Atlanta, I want to highlight a beautiful trans woman who's actually will be featured in the hit Sundance documentary Kokomo City Shot.
Kokomo.
Kokomo City.
Kokomo.
She was shot here in Atlanta. So I just want to say her name. Her name is Rashida Williams. And she was killed here. She was also known as Coco the Dog. She was one of the latest victims in, a senseless murder here in Atlanta. And she will be featured in this beautiful film that's coming up. And to the date, there has been no leads to the arrest of her murder. So I just want to say her name, Rashida Williams, AKA Coco the Dog.
Blessings to her family. We are praying with them and for them. We're dealing with a lot in our community as far as at trans men, trans women, but I see more trans women at harm versus trans men. So we are praying for your family, my darling, until we meet again. So before we get going, Samoria, I want you to introduce yourself. Tell our people a little bit about you before we really get into the good stuff.
Well, hi, I'm Samoria Hale. Samoria Hale, born and raised native of Mobile, Alabama, the Gulf Coast. I am the daughter of two beautiful, outstanding parents. I am an auntie. I am a great aunt. I am a woman of the cloth. I'm a licensed national evangelist. Second time over. I am a preacher's kid. I am a down-home country girl. I am single. I am...
I hope you heard that. She says she's single.
I hope the right one hear it. But I am just a fun girl who just love people, love to cook, love to eat, love to laugh. Oh, I love to laugh. Just a big old fat pretty country girl.
I got you.
And this is but she will appear every now and then.
Oh, sorry. But is the cat, y'all. Earlier, But was licking her face, and I've never seen a cat do that. But I'm not an animal person, so maybe all cats do it. I don't know, but I've never seen a cat actually lick a human being. But before we get started, know that we lead with love on this show, and this is a safe place We have lots of conversations around love, mental and physical health, support, community. And we love to share these topics with our not only our community, but those who aren't educated about what's going on in our community. Today, we're going to talk to Samoria about her personal journey and what that looked like as she transitioned from male to female, some of the challenges that she saw, but not just the lows. I want to hear about the highs as well, because it doesn't all have to be low when you're going through your transition. And also, Samoria recently had a surgery, so I'm going to dive into that. I think that's one of the topics that a lot of people chatter about behind closed doors, but they are afraid to kind of ask the questions. So since she's on here, I'm going to ask for you guys tonight. So Samoria, let's start with just your personal journey. Like what was your personal journey during your transition?
Oh, thank you, Jesus. You asked that question. My personal journey, because it will warm me up to got some strong ones there, sister. What warmed me up to my personal journey, I started my transition, I can't honestly say all my life. I kind of always knew that I was a little different. I always knew that I was a special type of person. I know that if it was not for him, and when I say him, the little boy that I used to be, it would be no wonderful, strong woman that I am today. So I do acknowledge him. I do love him for who he were and what he contributed. Although I have February was a special date for a special month for me, and preparing up to February, I had a personal, private funeral for him. I buried him so that this woman can fully be free and fully live without being held back to who he used to be. But I so love who he was, and I have some beautiful parents. Although one of my parents chose not to be in my life anymore, and that's his loss. It was my father. He chose, when I turned 35, I called him and told him that I moved to Atlanta for the second time. I'm here in Atlanta, and Dad, I just want you to know where I was. And he said, don't ever call me. I sat on my son's sofa and I cried for 2 hours straight. And when I was done, I called my sister Raquel. And I said, for a lot of people, well, I can't say a lot of people who don't know, because a lot of people know that Raquel is my sister. And for a long time, it was just like me and her always together doing stupid, crazy stuff on social media, doing videos. And I am the originator of Turn Up for Jesus. I introduced that to her and let her have it. So I said, how do you have it? And I don't even want to do that.
So I would like to know. I'm sorry, go ahead.
But I called my sister and told her what just transpired, and she gave me some wonderful words of wisdom to let that go, and let that be his journey. And if he ever circle back around, always be there with open arms to love him, but to also still remain true to who you are. Okay. That is my journey with my parents. But Malik, what were you going to ask me?
I hear you speak on how you love the person you was. With that, what made you decide to transition?
What made me decide to transition, I had to be authentically free and happy. Because the old me was mean, angry all the time, depressed, suicidal, because I could not be who I was meant to be. Oh, within my heart that I identified the most with, or who I could really be free in, to just express myself, to just be able to, like, when I would walk out in work clothing, I would feel like I'm a big old stud. I'm a big old lesbian. Like, what am I doing with these pants on? I want to wear a skirt. I want to be like my aunt. I hated Easter. And I come from a real Southern Baptist family. And Easter was important to us as a family, especially when Granddad was going to do his good preaching, honey. Going to go in the high gear. My uncle Neil was going to act a fool. And we was going to have dinner at Buddy's house later in our Easter clothes. Why I had to wear this great? I hated it. I used to love my sister dress because I was like, oh, you got on all this fluffy ass dress. I want to wear it. I hated it.
Let me ask you, like, you hated Easter because you obviously had to wear pants, you know, and your sister wear the dress you really wanted to wear.
Right. And my grandma wore the hat I wanted to wear.
So as an adult, what took you so long to transition? Like, what held you back from fully transitioning sooner?
Growing up in a small town like Mobile, Alabama, and even now, there are limited resources to women of my experience. Also, I was holding on to trying to make sure that this is really what I wanted to do, downright within my soul, that there was no other options for me. And also, to be honest as well, I didn't want to hurt my mom as much as I knew it would hurt her until I became free of her hurt and understood that my happiness was not predicated on her.
Correct.
So,
but at the end of the day, she don't ask me for anything for her happiness. She do it because it makes her happy.
Absolutely.
So were you living for a long time as a gay male?
Oh, here we go. So I have the privilege and the opportunity. I had the privilege and the opportunity to experience all of them. I was a closeted gay male. I was a church queen. Then I was an out gay male. Then I was a drag queen. Then after that, I met Raquel. And how we met was on Facebook. It was a man that was interested in me, that used to date her. And I found out. And I asked her some questions that pertained to something he asked me to do. And instantly we became sisters. It was like, girl, you need to run.
Wait a minute. Why you're not gonna tell us what he asked?
And that part ain't none of your business. But
the juicy.
Our job to ask those questions.
We want the juicy.
The question, he asked me to turn over my income to him so he can manage out my income.
What the fuck?
God. And I said, huh? And he asked my sister the same thing, and I was like, this ain't no man to me.
Yeah. So I would like to know, did your mother, your father, your family accept you as a gay man and not as a trans woman?
They would accept me more as a gay man because they figured at one point I might change my mind. Or I can live a closeted life.
For them, not
like so many other people in my family do.
Gotcha.
So that's kind of, I feel like that's one of the lows of your transition. Let's talk about some of the highs of your transition. Like, what were some of the parts that you felt good in and gave you pride or gave you hope, for that matter?
There are so many things about my transition that gave me so much hope and gave me pride. One of the first thing I can say was when I got my hair cut as a woman, in a woman style, because I didn't think that I could ever wear it, because I said, oh, I'm like a boy with my hair cut low and I'm supposed to have curls and things like that. Honey, I can't do that. And Raquel cut my hair. And Grandma Orr is a woman who speaks her mind. She used to Well, she's deceased now. But me and her instantly, I became her granddaughter as well. Came instantly connected. And she told me truth by myself when she first met me. And she said, oh, you needed that. It gave me a whole different look. Cool. And that was one that
was home from there.
Black
it was awesome. I was half short haircut. I was Coretta Scott King curls. I was with everything.
You know, hair is so important in the Black community. Hair is so important in the Black community. Hair defines a lot of Black women. And it can make us feel great or it can make us feel less than. So it's interesting that you chose to tell a high about your hair because it is very powerful. It's
the small things for me that really were big highs. Putting on my first pair of stockings was a high for me. Because I always would say, even as a boy, I had pretty legs. And even now, I'm still told that I have pretty legs. Okay. But with a pair of Berkshire stockings on, I have exquisite legs.
Expensive stockings.
Yes, Berkshire's was expensive stockings. I know. And another high was when I had my first real date from a real guy who was not afraid to take me out in public, to acknowledge me as his girlfriend, would go in front of the entire church and kiss me in front of the church and wouldn't care what nobody would say, knew how to treat me, knew how to handle me. That was a very wonderful experience for me, although we're not together in other concerning circumstances. That was a very, very rewarding high, personally.
Right.
One of the personal things. Publicly, and in my transition, was being able to be at the first march in Washington, D.C.
Okay, cool.
With trans women of color. And having to be on the front line, holding the banner with my sister Tiffany and my sister Raquel was so rewarding for me. You know, I'm not going to get emotional. And my sister Deidre was there. Deidre Black was so rewarding. And I had an opportunity to look for her. I was like, ooh, we here now. Yes, we out there. Because I wanted to do like a stealth.
Have you ever had any experiences where you were very interested in a young man, and y'all vibe, but he didn't know you were trans, and when you told him you were trans, things went away? Have you ever had that?
Did you say things went away?
Yes.
I have.
Yeah. How was that?
And it is
emotional.
Oh, it is one of the worst feelings. But you know, if you a woman that value honesty and value being upfront and giving a person that you are interested in the option to choose, be fair about that. If you are one of those people, then you know there is a possibility that it could go crazy.
So at what point do you
go hurt?
Yeah. So at what point in dating does a trans woman tell a man that may not?
Well, that's different for each person.
Yeah, I was going to say it's really based on the person.
But as for Samoria, in the beginning, over the phone, in a safe
place. Yeah, safer.
Safe place. We ain't even met up. Or if we have met up, we ain't seen each other after if he didn't want it. That's because I gotta make sure that I'm safe. Well, let me let you know something. I'm a woman of a different type of experience. What type of experience are you in? I mean, several. But I'm going to tell you about one of them that you might not like, or you might enjoy, or you might be intrigued and want to get to know the woman of it. Okay, I'm a woman of trans experience.
Gotcha. I like that.
Sometimes I think
Can you handle it?
that could be confusing to some. Like I've met, especially here in the South, I've met men that literally have not been introduced to trans women. So, and this is years ago.
I kind of find that hard to believe because
now this is years ago. It's more current now than 10 years ago. No, I think a lot of men, when they found out, they were shocked to shit. I have one friend in particular, and he's bi. So to him, it's fine either way. But he's from a small town here in South Carolina, and he had never met a trans woman. So he was accustomed to a drag queen. Okay, yeah. But when she said to him, I'm trans, and his exact response was, trans what? And she had to tell him, I was born a boy, and it rocked him off his socks. He called me, it's 2 a.m, and he said, Raquel, I done did it all. I gotta do it. I'm gonna do it I'm gonna do it. I just want you to know I'm gonna do it. But I met a transgender woman. And I said, okay. He said, girl, did you know that I could be a girl if I want to be a girl? I said, yeah, I knew that. He said, man, I never met a trans woman. And for the sheer fact that it was new to him, he was all the way in. He was like, I got to try, because if I can get away with being with a trans woman, I can go to church. I can tell my mom. I mean, he was so excited that he could walk outside and have all the worms. And that's how he explained it. And since then, girl, he moved to Atlanta, and he got a little bit, he said, I got to get out of South Carolina.
Why you ain't have him on with me? That would have been good.
I mean, he just didn't know. Church boy. Wow. He never
be a church boy.
Barnwell, South Carolina. He probably never even heard of Barnwell.
Never.
It's this small. Everybody in that city knows each other. There's only one high school in Barnwell, to give you an idea how small it is. So, yeah. I mean, he was blown away, and he was just like, for the sheer fact that I've never done this before, girl, I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna tell you all about it later.
How did it work out?
They dated for maybe a year, but I think they had they were just great. They ended up being great friends, and I think she helped him understand our world better. I felt like he was really closed off. I don't think...
Is he with a guy now?
He is with a non-binary male now.
Interesting.
He does not have a preference. He's really... And I think that's what it taught him. Like, he does not have a preference. He just knows that he likes a feminine boy or girl. That's what he knows. That's what he knows. Like, he knew that he didn't want to be with someone that was masculine. But it did not matter to him if it were a feminine boy, a non-binary boy, a trans woman. He just needed a woman, something that was not as hard as him. And
he's attracted to femininity.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yep.
And there are so many black men. Yeah, there is so many black men that are attracted to femininity. And I'm grateful that I can express all of that. That's such a wonderful way.
But some men really don't know, especially 10 years ago. It wasn't.
Well, we're now living in a different climate, in a different different time zone, Raquel. How can you not know if someone tell you that you're trans nowadays? Even old school kids know.
I think some guys are still shocked. Like they meet trans women that have lived in trans privilege all their lives. They have passed all their lives. Nobody has ever questioned it all their entire existence. So when they're told, I think some guys are definitely still shocked because they're thinking there's no way. It's some girls.
Okay, there's a state of shock.
Because I've seen a trans woman. I'm a lesbian. And I have approached a trans woman. And one of my closest friends said, mm-mm. I'm like, what, bitch? What? What does that mean? And she didn't want to say it right because she was so close to us. And she said, you know, that's not, that fish is a little different than ours. I said, get over here, man. She said,
Not that bitch.
she said that's not, what's not. And then I thought, I'm attracted to tall women, number one. So I'm not even, I didn't see it. It was so intriguing to me. I remember, and I'll say her name because she'd be fine with it. I said to Whitney, man, can I see your breasts? I want to touch it. I needed to see it. Like, and she's one of my best girlfriends, you know, but I did not know.
I think I know Wendy.
I didn't know though. You know what I'm saying? I really didn't know. I didn't know.
Wow.
We got to shift gears for the sake of time.
We did.
So Raquel, you want to dive into what you're dying to know?
Yes, I do. Because I've also had the privilege of having trans female friends who've gone through the bottom surgery. And I'm very vocal. Like, I want to see, girl, let me see. Let me test you out. Let me see. So
Test you out. What you mean?
and look, look, I am intrigued by a lot of things. So
you want to test it all with?
Look,
oh wow.
I am a person who will not die saying I did not do it.
Well, how was that for you?
You know what? It wasn't any different than being with a woman.
Thank you. So to answer your question, I have had bottom surgery.
Mm-hmm.
February 22nd was the day that, was the day that I really was reborn.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you a couple questions.
Go ahead.
How long was the recovery for you?
The recovery is ongoing. It will be totally complete for a year. However, I am able to use my vagina at 5 months.
I was about to ask, so can you use it? That was my next question. So
and it's been 5 months.
So what does it feel like on your side of it? Do you have all the sensation?
I have just about all of my sensation. I do have an orgasm. I didn't know what I was having when I had one. I was like, what is this? Why is my right leg shaking? Bitch, why am I shaking? Oh,
so what was you doing to get?
Is that pee? No, that's not pee. Oh, okay.
I'm saying, was you doing something and then
I was having intercourse, Malik.
So penetration.
Dick in pussy. Yes, intercourse.
Okay, I'm just saying. We know.
And I think I had one from there and from organ, like from oral sex, because the person was like mauling. And I was like, oh, you felt my clean. Because I was like, this shit like I almost reverted back to my own eating.
Okay.
God, it was so good. And he knew he was doing it too, baby.
Woo. So what made you decide that that's what you wanted to do? Because that's major.
Because let me tell you something about, I'm going to tell you 2 reasons. Number one, I am a sexual person. Like, intimacy and masculinity, it turns me on. And I am a sexual person and I connect with sex like women do connect with sex. And honey, I needed some masculinity. So long. Mind you, I ain't had sex 2 months prior to.
Oh, your procedure. Gotcha. 2 months prior to your procedure?
Yes, because I couldn't have it. We're not supposed to.
Gotcha.
And I followed the rules. I want to make sure this stuff worked.
Where did you go? Like, were you
to Dr. In Manhattan, Mount Sinai Hospital? They have a whole trans center there.
Okay.
In Manhattan, New York.
New York City. I'm sure for people who are listening, that information, those resources aren't as easy to find. I feel like there's still a lot of resources that are very difficult to find in our community. So I think for a lot of people that I've spoken to, and 2 people that I know personally, they went out of the country to have their procedures done.
Yeah, that's an as well.
And I do have a friend that's having a procedure done later this year, and they're doing it here in the country.
Yeah, I could not go out of the country because I couldn't get my sister there. Something happened. I should make sure Raquel was at on reach if I needed her.
Right.
Okay.
So when you saw
Well,
it
anyway,
for the first time, like, how did you?
When you saw it.
Yeah, like when you saw yourself,
when I saw it for the first time, like saw it,
take pictures and all that, like excited.
I didn't take no picture until the 3rd month.
Because swollen, right?
It was swollen, and I was like, "Oh!" I did see it in the mirror when they first removed all the packing and all the things like that. And I was like, "Ooh, what is this?" I was so scared. I was like, "Dr. Ting." Now, Dr. Ting is the top surgeon in the country to do this surgery. Marcy Bauer was the first trans woman doctor to perform the procedure, and she was at my surgery.
That's awesome.
And
history too. It's a little bit of history too. Like,
yes,
you're part of history.
She taught him, and he's perfected it and everything. And thank God he perfected it, because baby, honey, this down here makes you think, honey. I was like, why is she so wet all the time? Why is she so strawberry? I called my mama. I said, Mama, is they ever gonna stop? Mama said, you better be glad it's wet, because it want to be old.
So wait, you just said you call your mom.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
mom is fully accepted who you are.
It's still a process, but she is at the we have mental health days where we talk about everything with no judgment, no attitudes, or nothing like that. We working on us. And because I told my mother, I said, I don't want to lose my mother. I've lost my father, but I don't want to lose my mother. However, I still choose my happiness. And then if I have to let you go, I will. That's when I stood firm in who I was, and I realized it's not predicated on her. It's me. I'm going to die if I don't grab hold to this.
Right.
And I chose to live.
On that note,
because I got too much.
And I think I could probably have this conversation all night with you, but we do got to wrap.
Okay.
Samoria, maybe we got to talk offline, but
you can call me.
I might do that, girl.
You ain't easy, but you can call me.
So if you could leave other trans women with words of encouragement, what would you tell them?
Number one, you are enough. You are not in a race with no one else. And to love you enough to walk in your own happiness.
Yeah, that's good. That's good stuff. We love having these kind of conversations. I think they're needed. I think these kind of conversations are very educational and open. Like I said, we this is a safe place, and we lead with love, and our whole goal is to educate. So thank you so much, Samoria, for being open, because everybody's not open either, and making it an easy conversation. And it was fun. It was light. We laughed a lot. So we thank you. We ask that you remain. You are welcome. Malik, talk to us about sponsors.
All right. So here on It's a TRANSworld podcast, We are creating a safe space for our trans brothers and sisters and our non-binary counterparts. We would love to advertise your business on this TRANSworld podcast. We're also looking for our community partners and sponsors. For more information, reach out to myself or Raquel. Follow us on IG at Raquel, RAQUELRT3, at TRANSworld HTL. And you can follow me at _gorgeous_church boy. Also, please subscribe to our YouTube channel at Dream Catchers Production. Okay?
Right. So, guys, we hate to end this, but we gotta end the cookout. We like to again say thank you to Samoria. This is probably one of the best conversations for me since we've been doing the podcast, because it's material that I like to talk about. But until next time, we want to leave you with why we do this. It's the TRANSworld podcast is to educate those about the trans experience and to highlight the importance of equality, because we are all human. We want to explore the diverse experiences, challenges, and triumphs of the transgender and non-binary communities. We love being here with you, and like I said earlier, there's no other place that we would rather be. I'm your host, Raquel, and until next time, know that love is love. It's a TRANSworld podcast. Have a good night, guys.